Good evening, guys. We will start in another minute or two. Okay. So far what we have covered quite a few things, but I have to. So today I'm going to cover Metrix. Then very briefly, this within this week I have to cover Agile principles, Scrum principles, and those things also. Anyways, point of discussion for today is what reports you are going to send to the management, how you will judge whether the team is doing well or not. So slide number 14 is the one on your second presentation, which is what we are going to discuss today. Again, a very important question. You will be hired by people to keep an eye on the team and see how they are going. So they need reports. So what are the reports that you send to the management? So I'll give a comprehensive overview of it, and then you can pick and choose what your management wants. So first metric that we are going to discuss is productivity metric. Productivity metric is how much work we are doing, number of tickets, total story points, all that, how much work is there. But people are no longer just interested in how much work the team is doing. People are now also interested in how consistent your team is. So, is your team predictable or not? Why? Because let us say my team has a velocity of 30 points. Next sprint, there are 40, next sprint, there are 17, then there are 22, then there are 42. There is no consistency. It is a very unpredictable team. Versus there is a team that hovers around between 25 to 30 points. They are always between 25 to 30 points. There is a consistency. With that team which has consistency, you can plan your releases better. So let us say I have a release. This release will be a 3-month release. In this release, I have to have a 2-week sprint. So for a month, in 1 month, how many sprints? 2 sprints. Correct. It's a 10-day sprint. So in a month, how many sprints will be there? 2 days, because 10 working days. So 2-week sprint. In 1 month, you have 4 weeks, so 2 sprints. In 6 months, in 3 months, I will have 6 sprints. Now, if I know my team is constantly delivering 25 to 30 points, then I can say, boss, in 6 sprints, they will be able to do 150 to 180 points of work. Isn't it? You got this idea, right? If a team is consistently doing between 25 to 30 points, then I am very confident that in next 6 sprints, they will do somewhere between 150 to 180 points of work. So if there is a feature, there are 2 features, we divide those features into 10, 15, 20, 25 stories. Client will come to you, I need these 2 features. You will look into you will divide that feature into multiple stories. Management will say whether your team will be able to deliver. You say, okay, these are 15, 20, 25 stories. So you do an estimation. After the estimation, it turns out that these are 173 points. So you can say my team is consistently doing 25 to 30 points of work. Within next 6 sprints, we will be able to do these features because this is a consistent team. Now, as against this, there is a team which does sometimes they are doing 12 points, sometimes they are doing 19, sometimes they are doing 31. There is no consistency in the team. With that team, it is very difficult to predict their behavior. So you will be always underconfident of promising delivery to the client because sometimes they are not even CI/CD breaks down sometimes, SIT goes slow, QA team goes absent, key resources take leaves. That kind of team, if there are multiple issues, then the predictability or the release delivery becomes a big problem. And if you are not delivering consistently to the client, if releases are getting delayed or there are problems in the releases, then of course your business is in danger. So people are obviously interested in productivity. How many tickets, how many story points, how many bugs they resolved, all that is of interest, yes. But the predictability of the team, how consistent they are, is also very important. We'll see how to track that. Then the third aspect is the quality of the software. What can you say about the quality of the software that you are using? Is it a good product? How do you assess that? We'll talk about that. Then fourth aspect is how happy are your stakeholders? How happy are your customers? How do you assess that? What is the nature of the feedback? How are they happy with whatever is the rate of delivery? Are they happy with the quality of the product? Are they happy with the response that they are getting from the team? All of those things. What is the happiness index of the customers? That is a fourth aspect. Then there is another aspect. How happy is your team? Are your developers? Are your testers? Is your architect? Is your PO? All of those teams. Is your team? What is the morale of the team? Are they enthusiastic? Are they full of energy? Do they want to work hard? Are they interested in developing your product? What is the happiness index for your particular team? So if the management is interested in the speed of the delivery, the rate at which you will work, then productivity metrics. If they are interested in knowing the predictability of the team, how consistent they are so that they can plan their features and epics, then they are looking at predictability metrics. If the quality is an issue, too many bugs creep into production, client is not happy, there are too many issues, then the quality of the product is important. Then quality metrics is what you have to focus on. Then the mood of the team or the mood of the customer, then your stakeholder metrics or your employee satisfaction. So these are the various ways. So one look at, so some of these metrics you will find in Jira, some of these metrics you will not find in Jira, and you will have to calculate that. So, but this is an overall basis how you will. So do you know metrics? Yes, I know metrics. What sort of metrics you know? Well, I know productivity metrics, which is how much work my team is doing, predictability metrics, quality metrics, customer satisfaction metrics, employee satisfaction metrics, or what you call happiness index. Now let us get into details on. So Scrum Master is like a doctor of a team. He goes into the team, checks Jira, checks some of the other things. Within 1 day or 2 days, you will know what is the nature of the problems of this team. Are they doing good, bad, how they are doing? And you can check any team based on these metrics. Now, let me share the screen and get into more details. Where is the... Okay, these are the reports that you send. So on a sprint level, you send this. Release level, you send this, risk report, retrospective reports, backlog reports. These are some of the reports. We'll get into that once we understand. So productivity metrics, predictability metrics, quality metrics, and engagement metrics. Abhilasha will take the question one side. Okay. So productivity metrics, these are some of the productivity metrics. These tell you how much work is happening in your team. Most of the management are interested in these metrics. So throughput, velocity, cycle time, lead time, work in progress, task completion rate, sprint burn down, release burn down, and epic burn down. So these are some of the productivity metrics. Cycle time, lead time, and work in progress, we will talk in detail when we do Kanban method of working. So these three are the cornerstones or the main components in Kanban. For Scrum or teams which are more development oriented or feature driven development work is happening, for them velocity is the key component. Velocity we of course understood yesterday. Your completed story points is your velocity. So if you add half-baked features or half-completed stories, then this data becomes garbage. If lot of stories are being added in the middle of the sprint. So let us say you said you will do 30 points and you ended up doing 24 points. Fine. But now in the middle of the sprint, a 13 pointer was added. Now your commitment is 43 points, but in reality, 43 points is not your commitment. That was added in the middle of the sprint and you did not even take anything out. If scope creep is happening, if a lot of things are added in the middle of the sprint, then this data is useless. Velocity data is useless if there are too many items being added into the sprint. Then you cannot assess anything with this. So velocity, of course, you all know. Throughput is a very interesting, it's a last 2-3 years it came into limelight. Throughput is nothing but total number of tickets done by a team in a given sprint. Total stories, let us say my team does 10 stories, 5 technical tasks, they do 11 or 12 bugs. So 10 plus 5, 15 plus 12, 27 work items they completed or 27 tickets they completed in Jira. Managements are obsessed with total number of tickets that your team can handle. So you can tell 27 is the number of tickets that my team handled in this particular sprint. So how do you calculate that? Whatever is the total number of tickets which are in done status in Jira. Throughput is the total number of tickets which are in a done or a completed state at the end of the sprint. Whatever you have done during those 10 days and they are in done status. So if I did 5 bugs, 10 stories, 15 tasks, then the total of all these tickets is my throughput. Okay. So throughput and velocity are your two main things in Scrum. Then there is burn down, burn up. There is no mention of burn up. Burn up is also there. I will explain you that. So sprint burn up, release burn down, epic burn down. All these 4 or 5 things. Velocity you will find it in Jira. The burn down, burn up charts you will also find it in Jira. That I will explain you. Task completion rate is a very simple metric, and sometimes it is a very manipulative metric. So you did 8 stories out of 10, 80% task completion rate. Story completion rate is 80%. How do you calculate? At a story level, whatever total number of stories you have taken is your denominator. Whatever stories are completed becomes your numerator. Stories completed upon stories, total stories taken into 100, 80%. Let us say there is a team which does 8 out of 10 stories. 80% is beautiful. But they did not do 2 stories. There was a 13 pointer and an 8 pointer, but those were crucial stories, but they could not do it. So this sometimes is a misleading figure, but sometimes you need it to save your team also. So I'll explain you that trick also. But task completion rate is you had 10 bugs, completed 7 out of 10, 70%. So task completion rate, item completion rate, how to calculate that in Jira, that also I will show you. It may not be ready-made available. So you may have to calculate it, task completion rate. So productivity metrics, throughput, which is total number of tickets done. Velocity is your story points completed. Story points of stories that are completed is your velocity. Then task completion rate, I already explained you. Burnout and burn up charts, I will explain you after when we complete this. Then we'll get into Jira. Yeah, Vilasha, you have a question.
Okay, so here we are talking about the productivity metrics. So defect, slippage, or something where
We
it comes
that is in your quality metric.
in quality metrics. Okay, okay, okay.
So, do you know how many metrics you know? I know 3, 4 different kinds of metrics: productivity, predictability, quality, and engagement or happiness index. So,
Hmm.
these are primarily 4 categories of metrics. In productivity metrics, I use throughput to find total number of tickets. Velocity is my total number of story points done. On the basis of this, we define the capacity. Then you have task completion rate. It tells you the efficiency of the team. And then sprint burn down, all of those things I'll explain. Okay, when we get to Jira. Now, predictability metrics, sprint forecast accuracy. So yesterday we saw we there was a velocity chart. In that velocity chart, there were 2 bars, green bar and gray bar. Gray bar is how many points you are committing in the sprint planning. In the sprint planning, let us say I committed 30 points. But in reality, when the sprint ended, we could only complete 24. So story points completed upon story points committed, 24 divided by 30 into 100. It tells you what is the accuracy of the team. Sprint forecast accuracy. So let us say 80%, which means the team completes 80% of its work. That is the forecast accuracy. If it is 80% in one sprint, 70%, 75%, 73%, which means 70 to 80% is my predictability or forecast accuracy. The team, if it picks up 100 points, then I'm sure 70 or 75 points of out of those 100 will be 100% done, because that is the metric which I have. So which this tells you about. The average velocity is also your predictability metric. Whatever is your average velocity is also a great indicator. So my average velocity is 20 now, or 25, let us say my average velocity is 25. So teams, if the team is hovering within 5 or 10% of this average velocity, then the team is a very consistent team. If there are a lot of fluctuations, then that is a problematic situation, because you cannot plan your releases well in that case. How to do release planning, that also probably this week or next week early they will ask you, how do you plan releases, how do you do release management? And release management also you have to mention in your CVs. Agile metrics, 100% you have to mention. Sprint burn down, sprint burn up, velocity, code quality, code coverage, all these metrics you should mention 3 or 4 of them, 5 of them in your CV. Then you also have to mention release management in your CV. You should know release management. Very easy process. I will explain. Okay. Lead time consistency we'll get into when we get into blocked work percentage. So let us say I have a total of 100 tickets in my sprint. So out of 100 tickets, let us say 30 tickets are blocked. So that is a 30% blockage. So that you can, at the end of this, you can track it on an everyday basis also. So let us say on an everyday basis, 20 to, my block percentage is anything between 20 to 30%. This is okay. If it is less than 10%, then it is bingo, but very rarely you will see it. But if it is more than 40, 50, let us say if it is more than 50%, half of your items are in a blocked state on an everyday basis. It's a sign where there are lot of difficulties with the team. Either there are deployment issues, or there are code review issues, or the requirements are not clear, or there are too many bugs, or people are not able to clear those bugs. So if the blocked work percentage is high, more than 40 or 50 on an everyday basis, then it is a problem with the team. You have to figure it out what is the problem. And if the percentage of blocked work items is high, then the predictability of that team will be low. If the blocked work percentage is less, then the predictability of the team will be high. So this is how you calculate. So sprint forecast accuracy is how much story points you are completing, what is the percentage of work you are completing. Blocked work percentage is how much of your work is getting blocked. And average velocity. So those three things tell you the predictability of a team, how consistent your team is. Now this is clear, right? First 2 points, productivity and predictability, both are productivity. You have to throughput, velocity, task completion rate, predictability, your average velocity, and I forgot what was the other thing we spoke. Sprint forecast accuracy and blocked work percentage. Now, how do you assess the quality of the product? Now, let us say your product is in production and you are getting a lot of escalations from the client. There are too many bugs they are finding out in the production. This is what we called escaped defects. Escaped defects are defects which escape your testing. So how does testing happen in the agile teams? Testing happens in agile teams from the developer itself. Developer will do unit testing. Then if unit testing is passed, then it will reach to SIT. In SIT, the QAs will do testing. If that testing also passes, then you will go to UAT, business user tests. Then after business users say it is fine. So you have 3 levels of testing. Even after 3 levels of testing, there are bugs which you deploy the code into production and customer screams, boss, there are too many issues or production issues or bugs. Then those are, they are issues which have escaped your testing. So let us say I had 87 bugs till I reached production. I had 87 bugs. Now in production, for a period of 15 days or 20 days, whatever is your monitoring period, I get 13 defects in production. So bugs that you have found in production divided by total number of bugs in that feature into 100 is your escaped defect percentage. I'll reconfirm what I have told you. Your total bugs found before and after release, that is the denominator. So before release, I had 87 bugs for my MVP. Let us say I had 87 bugs. After I released my minimum viable product, MVP, or some feature, some release, whatever I'm doing, I'm assuming I released my MVP. So 87 bugs I got before production, before I released to production, which I fixed everything. I got 13 more bugs in production. So I got a total of 100 bugs. So, but out of those 13 were bugs which I got in production. So 13 divided by 100 is your escape defect percentage. If it is less than 10%, it is very good, no problem. But if it is more than 20, 25%, 30%, then it's a problem. More than 40%, what is QA doing? How is unit testing happening? What are PO reviews getting done or not? It's a questionable effort. So anything more than 40% is a big problem. Even more than 30% is a problem. More than anything between 20 to 30%, It's still a problem that, but you can still live with it and fix it, and you can still, but anything beyond 40 is a big problem. Ideally, it should be less than 10%. If it is less than 10%, then it is reasonably okay. So that is your defect, leakage, or escaped defects. Escape. So how do you calculate the quality of the product? The first is that you calculate the defect rate in what you have found in production. How many bugs escaped your testing divided by total number of bugs. That gives you a percentage of bugs that escaped your. If obviously there is a higher percentage of bugs getting into production, then you have to question your QA testing strategies. You have to question your unit testing strategies. Again, never question developers and QAs individually. Question the practices that they are doing. If there is a very high percentage of defects you found in production, what QAs are bad, devs are bad? No. What are the practices that they are following? Are we closing the stories with critical bugs being closed, or we are closing the stories with critical bugs? Is the DoD there or not? What is the testing strategy? How much are we doing regression testing? In unit testing, are we covering all the acceptance criteria or not? All that kind of discussion needs to happen. So again, I'm getting into too much details, assuming that you will get into very good companies. But for ordinary normal companies, even if you tell them that there is something called escape defects, where you find out how many bugs escaped into production, that is good enough. But if they ask you to details, then details are this. Then there is something called code coverage. Code coverage is, I'm not going to give you a long list. Actually, we can, if we have to discuss metrics, we can spend next 3 months in discussing only metrics. There are plenty of metrics here. Sometimes if the management is after me, I give them all sorts of numbers to even confuse them further. So, but ultimately, there are simple ways of finding it out. But if sometimes these management folks are obsessed with numbers. Okay, you want numbers, I will give you a lot of numbers. Take it and be confused. Anyway, so on a basic level, productivity metrics, predictability metrics, productivity 2 or 3, predictability 2 or 3. So you know 5 or 6 now metrics. Then quality, escape defects. Next is code coverage. Code coverage is what percentage of my code is getting tested. So let us say I have 100 lines of code in my code base. Now, when the QA runs his tests, how many lines of that code is getting executed? So code coverage metrics will be given to you by with the help of dev team. You can set it up in SIT and dev both. What is the percentage of code getting tested as a part of unit testing? What is the percentage of code getting tested as a part of functional testing by the QA in SIT? You will need your tech leads help or architects help to enable these options. But this is a very important metric. The catch is, if 100% of the code is getting tested, does not mean you will not get any defects. So if entirety of my code base is getting tested, 100% of my code base is getting tested, that does not mean I will not get any bugs. So 100% is an overkill. Typically 75-80% is a very decent code coverage. But if it is less than 30% or 40%, then it's a problem. Imagine my code coverage is 32%, which means 68% of my code is not even getting tested. What am I going to get? Bugs in production. If 30% of my code is getting tested, do you think I will be confident to go for a release? No. Most teams in the software industry don't have this metric even. Barish padi, sadak beh gayi. This is how we all work, right? So they have no clue of this metric. This is a very fundamental metric. 100% it has to be used. I don't know how many of you guys have worked in teams where they use this metric. It's a very important metric. I need see if 30% of my code is getting tested, can I blame my developers that there are bugs? Poor guy, his code is not even getting tested. Then how come you are blaming him that he is not writing good code? So what percentage of code is getting tested is a very important metric. It has to be bare minimum 60%. In ideal situation, 70 to 80%. Again, you have to translate or interpret these metrics. Just by knowing these metrics is not enough. You have to explain these metrics, that how you are going to use it. Code coverage is less than 30%, it's a problem. Code coverage is more than 50, 60%, it is decent. Anything beyond 70, between 70 and 80, this is very good. If it is 90, 100, that's an overkill. No need of doing that much, because the benefits outweigh the amount of effort you are going to make. So anything between 70, 80 is fine. Anything beyond 90 is an overkill. But if you want to do it, if it is easy, do it. There is no problem in it if the effort is not too much. So escaped defects, code coverage. These are two major quality metrics. There are plenty of others, but don't get confused. These two are good enough for you. Then one more I'll talk about, which is your defect density. It's a fancy word. It's nothing but an extension of. So what we do is, every 1,000 lines of code, we try to find out how many defects are there. So let us say I have 20 defects. So let us say I have 10,000 lines of code in my code base, and I got 180 defects. So I did a feature. Let us say this feature was some sales report I had to build, or some patient dashboard I had to build, or some care gap report, or which finds how much is the difference between care which was supposed to be given and care actually received by the patients. So in healthcare projects, you do it. And so this is one requirement. On this requirement, there were 37 stories. In those 37 stories, there were 10,000 lines of code. On your 10,000 lines of code, suppose I got 180 bugs. So 180 divided by 10,000. So, but you calculate this number, so 1.8. So you calculate this on kcal basis, which is per 1,000 lines of code, how many bugs you are getting. So obviously, the lesser the number, the better it is. But an acceptable number is anything which is less than 10%. So this is just to show off. Typically, this is getting too much into details, but it's a good organization. You are appearing for PwC, EY, Deloitte, something like that. It's a big brand. Do a show off that I use defect density also. I calculate, because not a lot of other people are going to say this metric in the that interview. So this is just to show off. So per 1,000 lines of code, how many bugs we are getting. So kcal is the unit with which we calculate the defect density. So defect density is how much of my defects are per 1,000 lines of code. If it is a very high number, then my product is buggy and it needs a lot of fixing or refactoring. If it is low number, then the quality of the product is very good. So these are three metrics. Defect density is a show off, but code coverage and escape defects, any Scrum Master should know these two 100%.
Sir, one question. Higher defect density, it means?
It means you have a buggy code. So let us say I have 100 bugs every 1,000 lines of code. That's a problem, right? If there is a team which has only 7 defects per 1,000 lines of code, that's a good ratio. There is no problem. The higher the number, the more buggy the code is. If you want to develop more features, you will have a lot of trouble. Even the stability of the system of your code in production will be an issue.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting into little more details today because you have to explain. See, people are going to hire you for Matrix only, isn't it? You are not being hired for to do coding or testing. Mm-mm. You are hired so that the management knows how the team is doing, and on what basis you are going to find how the team is doing. The basis is your metrics. So you should know your metrics so that you can present it to the organization. Typically, you will have minimum one call in 2 weeks, if not a weekly call with your management. But typically, whatever is your sprint cycle, at the end of, after every sprint, you have to present your metrics to the management in some call. It could be a product call where a lot of different products will be there and each scrum master will be presenting their metrics. It could be individual call also with some CTO. It depends. But definitely you will be asked to present the data of your team in a call. So then you have to get all those, what are the, some of these things you will find in Jira, some of the things you will not find in Jira, you have to collect that. But easy hack is other Scrum Masters will be doing it. Hi, hello, how are you? I am doing good. I am new. What are the reports you are sending? They will tell, okay, these are the things we are sending. Then you can. But if you know the basics, then it will be easy for you to navigate. So velocity, throughput, task completion rate, these are your three main productivity metrics. Then sprint forecast accuracy, how much percentage of story points is getting done. Then your blocked work percentage gives you predictability metric. Then defect density, code coverage, and what was the third one? You are not listening, are you?
Yep.
So defect density.
Defect,
Escape defects.
defect slippage.
Escape defects. Who told
Okay.
escape defects? Okay, Deepak is listening. Very good. Escaped defects, code coverage, and defect density. So these are your quality metrics. So we have covered 10 metrics for now. Then on top of it, I'll cover some of the Jira charts also, if time permits today, otherwise in the next session. Because they will ask you, burn up, burn down, how do you read those charts? Burn up and burn down are the only two charts you have to read. Other than that, release, burn down, epic burn downs are easy charts. Then CFD is a tricky chart, but that's for Kanban more, not for, but you can still use it for Agile. So CFD, cycle time, lead time, those three we typically use for Kanban, but it can also be used for Scrum. How we'll get into that. Okay, so now let us get into the next one sec here. Okay, now happiness index. Happiness index is actually a twofold metric. One, you are trying to find how happy or satisfied your stakeholders are, your customers and stakeholders. For that, you have two ways of measuring it. One, you can send surveys. So I was once hired just for this role. They said, Joey, we are doing very good. There is no problem in the team. But our clients, we don't know whether they are happy or not. We don't get the recognition. All I did was I started sending surveys after every 15 days to the various stakeholders. And based on their feedback and response, I used to tell my management, okay, they are happy, they want this more. Basically, open the communication channels through sending of these surveys. That's all. It was a very simple trick. So happiness index is Scrum Master, or it could be some other person from the management, but some of you have to send the survey to the client after every sprint or after every 1 month, which are called CSAT surveys, customer satisfaction surveys. Sometimes sales team is also involved. Sometimes some other teams are also involved. Client engagement team is also a different team. You can take their help also. But there has to be some mechanism where you are tracking the feedback from the customer. So in happiness index, you send surveys to the clients. How was, are you happy? There is a bunch of, there are standard questions. You can Google it and find out. There are teams which will help you also. Standard questions, how happy you are, are you getting the right responses? Is the PO responding well? How is the technical competency of the team? All the sort of standard questions are there. So customer surveys is one way of finding out whether your stakeholders and customers are happy or not, satisfied or not. The second option is option which we have already discussed. The second method is a method which you already know. Can you guess? Suganya, Sudipta, I don't see you.
Mad, sad, glad.
Thank you for listening. Huh?
Listening, sir.
Listening. Good, good, good.
Mad, sad, glad.
No, that is a retrospective way, but that you will do with the team. That you will do with the team. But with the stakeholders, there is one in Agile, there is already a built-in event to find this.
Sprint review.
Sprint review.
Beautiful. Sprint review. So sprint review is already a built-in mechanism in Agile or Scrum to know the satisfaction levels or the happiness levels of stakeholders or customers. That is why it is a very superior method to waterfall, because it has a built-in mechanism to find that. Every sprint, it gives you an opportunity to listen what your customers think of what you have done. So you are capturing that feedback in the sprint review. If customers are giving you positive review, bingo, beautiful. If they are giving you negative review, are you responding to that immediately? How quick is your response? Are you giving the ETAs on negative responses? Are you tackling it nicely? All of that through that. If stakeholders are not coming to your sprint review, then that's a clear sign of a problem, of a low satisfaction. Either your team is not doing well or stakeholders have lost interest in your team. So two ways of finding out whether stakeholders or customers are happy or not. One way is CSAT surveys. The other is how is your sprint review happening? Is this clear? Kiran, why are you confused? All good? All good now.
All good, Nadine.
All good. So this is clear. Okay. Then next, employee satisfaction. Again, first method is survey. You send anonymous survey to the employees to find out, are they burned out? Are they happy? Are they sad? What are they? What are they feeling? You will be sending anonymous surveys, and this can be done with the help from HRT. You can either do it yourself or in conjunction with the HR teams, you can send the surveys to your Scrum team, anonymous surveys. We all know nothing is anonymous, right? This is how world works. In reality, there is nothing anonymous. Your responses are captured based on your IP addresses or your user IDs. Okay, so that's another story. And the world is not what it looks like, right? So nothing is anonymous, nothing. Especially now in this day and age, nothing. Anyways, but you have to tell that this is anonymous. So anonymous surveys is what you will send to the employees to find their satisfaction levels. Now, the second way is a way you already know, you have already mentioned, which is to do retrospectives. The way retrospective is happening, their enthusiasm levels, whether they are giving suggestions, whether everybody is participating, their energy levels, it will give you a great idea whether they are happy about their work or not. So survey method, anonymous surveys with HR or independently. The second way is to see inbuilt mechanism is your sprint retrospectives. That gives you a fair good idea of how these people are thinking about the work and themselves, what is the morale of the team, how motivated they are, how happy they are. So now you have 4 different kinds of metrics and you know all of them: productivity, predictability, quality, and the happiness index. In happiness index, for customers and stakeholders, for stakeholders, surveys and sprint review; for your employees, anonymous surveys and sprint retrospectives. So now you have a very good quality answer, in the sense, as a Scrum Master, I look at productivity metrics, how much my team is working, what is the speed of their delivery. Then predictability metrics, what is the consistency at which they are doing it, the quality of the code through these 3 metrics, and the happiness index of my customers, stakeholders, and my employees through surveys and agile events. So this is how you will track the team. So you now know the bigger picture, how you are going to look at all these things. Now I'm going to cover, probably if time permits, then I'm going to talk about the Jira charts and all, probably next session. But this is clear to you guys. This is how you do primarily for Scrum teams. For Kanban teams, there is a set of different core metric we use, which are cycle time, lead time, WIP. You basically are more interested in the flow of the work rather than how many items are getting completed, the flow. So how you look at that, we'll get into that probably next week or maybe Friday, whenever we get time. So another thing now, 100% they will ask you which reports you send to the management. 200%. So the reports are already there. Okay. So sprint progress reports. So you track the sprints through sprint burn down, planned versus completed versus planned work. This is nothing but 30 points were planned, 24 done. What is the percentage complete? Then impediment logs. Remember, in DSU, you are taking on an everyday basis how many blockers you are getting, what is the team doing, who is taking ownership of those blockers. So sprint burn down chart, it visually tells you. I will explain you in detail, so forget about it for now, but you should know that you send sprint burn down, completed versus planned work. This is nothing but your velocity chart. Then this is impediment log, whatever blockers you get. Velocity chart, what is the trend in your velocity, what is your average velocity. Then capacity sheets, then release burn down chart. What is increment status, I'll get into when we do the release management, but release burn down chart in the next session, we'll get into the details. Then there is something called risk register, where we track how many different kinds of risks we encountered and what did we do to resolve them. So we do risk management through a there are different techniques, but the most popular technique in Agile, which most of the companies use, is Rome technique. So you divide the risk into 4 categories. And how do you do that? We'll get into that. So I'll take half an hour to explain all this. But for now, you send these 3 reports, then velocity report, then release burn down reports, then risk register. We call it risk register. You can either track your risks through Jira. You can create a separate board, or you can track your risks through a simple Excel also. So then retrospective items, and this you do through Confluence, which you have already seen, how you document your retrospectives. You can share that page. Remember, we did a page, we had a document for you can share the link of that page with the management, that this is the retrospective we did. These were the suggestions. Based on these suggestions, we took this action item. So that is also a report you send. Then you send something called sprint product backlog health. Product backlog health is an interesting concept. So Product backlog health is a health which is again a very important metric. Why? Because let us say my team's capacity is that they can complete on an average 10 stories in a particular sprint. In the last 5, 6, 7 sprints, we have seen that anything between 8 to 10 stories is what they do. That is their capacity in terms of stories. Backlog health is how many stories in your product backlog are stories that are ready for development. So let us say I have a backlog of 120 stories, but out of those 120 stories, only 3 are ready for development. And my capacity is 10 stories. My team's capacity is on an average 10 stories. But in the current backlog, in the product backlog, I only have 3 stories which are ready for development. I will immediately know this team does not do consistent groomings. There is a problem. What if 2 stories or 3 stories get blocked? What if the product owner goes on leave? Then I will suddenly have a sprint where I will not even have stories to start the work. The entire bandwidth of my team will be wasted. Imagine you don't have anything ready in the product backlog. No stories have been discussed with the team. Suddenly, the product owner goes on a sick leave. God forbid there is some emergency. He doesn't come for next 5, 6, 7 days. That's it. My half the sprint is lost. People have no work. They may go and do some low priority bugs or something pending. That's a separate story. But so how do you assess your backlog health? Your backlog health is when you have 2x capacity of stories that are ready for development. So if the capacity is 10 stories, then ideally you should have 15 to 20 stories which should be at any time ready for development. Then of course PO can decide out of the whatever is ready, out of which what is the priority. Based on the priority we can pick up work. But if 1.5x to 2x should be the stories that should be ready for development, that is what tells you that your backlog is in a healthy state. If the backlog does not have stories that are ready for development, which means the grooming calls are not happening consistently and your backlog health is poor. Is this concept clear? So these are 6 out of in the primarily 6 reports, but within each report there are multiple reports. So these are around 8, 10, 12 reports, which are standard reports. Now some organizations may not use all 12. They will use only 3 or 4 of them. Some will use even more. They may have customized reports. They may want even more reports. As in how many total bugs you got in the current sprint, or what is the total number of high priority bugs versus total bugs. So let us say I got 100 bugs totally, and out of those 100 bugs, I had 25 high priority bugs, or high severity bugs, bugs which blocked my stories, bugs which were so critical that it did not allow my stories to be completed. So those are your high severity bugs. Some organizations may ask you to give the percentage of high severity bugs versus your total bugs. Because if you are getting a lot of high severity bugs, that means the quality of the code is not good. The engineering practices are questionable. As against this, there is a team which has 100 bugs, but blocker bugs or high severity bugs are 5 out of 100. Minuscule. They are getting bugs, but not critical bugs. So your stories are not getting blocked. So go through these recordings 1 or 2 times. Please be very confident when you are explaining the metrics. If you can, estimations, you are very well clear now, both agile way and the hybrid way. So you will be able to explain how do you estimate things, how do you do sprint planning, how do you do capacity management, all that you will be able to answer. Now the next is metrics. Will you be able to explain the metrics in detail or not? If you are able to do these 2 things properly, 60-70% of the battle is already won. But if you are not confident on metrics, block. They ask you how many blockers do you get on a day-to-day basis. You already have a list of 15, 20. I get technical blockers, process-oriented blockers, organization blockers. You have that. So if you are able to explain blockers, you are able to explain estimations and capacity management, then you are able to explain metrics. That's it here. And you give 10 interviews, you will get minimum 2 or 3 offer letters. You can listen to your recordings and compare this recording with the recording of your interview and see what is the difference. Are you able to explain simply these metrics, estimations and blockers? Estimations, blockers and metrics. If you can cover these 3 things properly, you're good. If you struggle in metrics, then don't come to me and say, Joey, why am I not getting, why I'm not clearing the interviews? You will clear interviews if you do these things right. Okay. So we covered quite a few things today. I'm not going to cover anything else. It'll be an overkill. In the next session, I'll start with explaining you Jira charts. Some of these interviews, they will ask you, can you read a Jira chart? Burn up what is on x-axis, what is on y-axis, what is ideal line, what are all those things they will ask. But again, simple things, so don't worry about it. For today, I hope this is clear. 3 or 4 productivity metrics, 2 or 3 predictability metrics, 3 or 4 quality metrics, and 2 or 3 happiness index metrics. So you have a mix of 10, 12 metrics, and you already know there are you send the reports to track sprint. How do you track the sprint? Sprint burn down chart, impediments log, capacity sheet. Then how do you track release? Release burn down chart. Then how do you track productivity? Your velocity chart. Then there is a risk register. Then there is a backlog health register also, or backlog health, where you track how many backlog items are ready for development. Then you have a retrospective register also, where you document the retrospective suggestions and all. That report also you send. So these are some of the reports that you send. Now, is this exhaustive list? No. There are plenty of organizations, they will want all sorts of nonsense reports. All sorts of nonsense reports. So, but these are basics without which you cannot survive. But these days, organizations will ask for all sorts of nonsense reports, not useful, sometimes useful. But so I see a lot of Scrum Masters digging data, spending 3-4 hours every day and coming up with all sorts of nonsense data. But fine. Okay, so this is any questions, clarifications? Are you clear? Will you be able to handle these questions? Do you know metrics? How often you connect with the management? What reports do you send? How do you tackle the productivity? How do you know whether the team is doing good or bad? So how do you know the team is good? Based on these 4 metrics. If there is a problem, you sort it out. So questions, concerns. Why are you all no questions today? Why? Now, if I will do some other topic, then you will ask me questions on metrics. No, I'm just kidding. So I hope you have
Sir,
this is as comprehensive as yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, actually, one question. What actually, I don't understand the difference between the burn down and the velocity. I think both are.
But forget about burn down. Forget
Okay.
about. I will explain you in detail. Okay.
Okay.
Don't burn up, burn down. You should know that these are 2 charts. What are those? We'll get into detail.
Okay.
Sir,
Today I
one
gave the mock
question.
interview, sir.
Oh, you did the mock
A
interview?
mock interview.
Okay. How did it
Then
go?
first 4 questions I have answered very well, and
Hmm.
after 6th question Six, seven, conflict management, everything I have explained it. And seventh question is this matrix. He asked me the metrics. Then I only said three metrics: burn down and this velocity. Then again I asked, he asked the Fibonacci series and explained it, but he's okay with it. But they're asking same question, like why, how different it is linear numbers and Fibonacci series. I explained it, but maybe more explanation is needed. My words are
I'll
wrong,
give you
maybe.
one hack. I'll give you
Yeah.
one simple explanation.
And the metrics question, sir, he said
So
that
matrix, now if they ask
now
you,
now
now
I
you
can
will be
give.
able to give 1 hour answer.
And one feedback he given me is lengthy answers. That even I have observed it. I have asked him the recording and I have seen it. Lengthy answers. And he was very impressed with the sprint. He asked me one question. Can you explain me the sprint, complete sprint cycle? So I took 5 to 10 minutes. He is okay with this. But this metrics and all these things and
So next interview matrix you will crack now. You will kill it.
yes, sir.
Don't worry. Burn down, burn up. You can do a PhD. I'll cover in one session. You will cover in India. Actually, I am deeply interested in metrics. If time is allowed, I can cover metrics for next 3 months. But of course, I can't. So don't worry. Metrics. We'll cover more into cover in all the things that are there in Jira, and it is
So
fun.
this metrics we can use it in any tool, like Azure
In
DevOps, in any
Ha,
tool.
ha, ha. The basics remain the same, right? You are finding out the how many story points are getting done, what is the completion rate. Again, code quality metrics are not dependent on Jira, right? They are, I mean, dependent on tool. They are standard. What
So
is your
best
code?
is they
Huh?
use Excel. Maximum if the Jira in the Jira it is not available, we can use an Excel and calculate.
So you export the data from Jira into Excel and then you can figure it out. Don't worry, a lot of other Scrum Masters will be doing all those stupid reports. They will know how to dump the data. Nobody even reads these things. Trust me. All these C-level executives, they don't read too many things. At least in my experience, I haven't seen. They do a lot of acting, but they don't read all these things for sure. As a general rule, what I've seen is they don't anything which is more than 4 lines of email. I don't see. I don't think they have time to go. People send like so crazy huge emails. Who's going to read them here? Especially in this day and age. But we'll do. Yeah, Abhilasha ma'am, you have a question.
Like how to measure if productivity is increased by percentage?
So let us say the your team is a size of 10. So 7 developers, 2 QAs, whatever is the configuration. So let us say it's a team of 10 and the team is, the resources are not increasing. Okay. The same resources. Now let us say in sprint 4, they did 40 points. Now in the next sprint, they did 50 points. Now they are able to do 55 points. So you can show there is an upward trend of velocity.
Okay.
So let us say earlier there was an issue, the groomings were not happening properly. So you had an average velocity of 20. Then you fixed the grooming calls. You made sure you pick up stories which are ready for development. Then once the grooming started happening regularly, then the average velocity from 20, it went out to maybe 30, 35. So what is the percentage increase? 50% increase.
Mm-hmm.
That way you have to.
So that percentage thing we need to mention in CV resume, like it was.
If you have more than 5 years of experience as a Scrum Master, 5 or 6,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Okay.
And whatever numbers you are mentioning, they will ask you how can you prove it? So this is how you can prove it. So
Mm.
whatever you are putting out, please tell me whatever you are putting out, I will give you an explanation. Of course, everybody cannot put the same thing, but whatever you guys are putting, if you are putting some numbers, please tell me this is the number Joy I have put. How do I explain it? I will tell you how to explain.
Yes.
So let us say I was getting 100 bugs. In the last 4 sprint, on an average, every sprint I was getting 50 or 60 bugs. Now, after I introduced regression testing, or I introduced some other practice, the percentage from 50, 60 bugs, I got to 20 or 30 bugs. So there is a 40 to 50% reduction. As a Scrum Master, I identified there are too many bugs. For example, I was on an average, we were doing 8 to 10 stories, and I was getting 50 to 70 bugs. So 5 to 7 bugs on an average I was getting per story. So then we introduced regression testing, or we introduced unit testing, or whatever practice you want to say. After we introduced that, I identified it, there is an issue. I sat with the team. We identified there's an issue in unit testing or code review or some other practice, and we fixed it. And thereby, in the next 3 or 4 sprints, we saw there is a decline from 50 or 70 bucks to maybe 20 or 30. There was a decline of 30% or 35%. Don't say outrageous numbers, say believable numbers.
Can you give some example? Like,
This was an example.
I mean, how much percentage we can write down it is,
I
so that.
told you, see, from 50 to 70 bucks, now I'm getting 30 to 40 bucks. There is a there is a 30% decline or a 35% decline.
Yes, yes.
Don't worry, they'll not get into this thing unless there is some mad guy. But you understood, right? 20% decline, 30% decline, 40% decline. That's it.
Or can I say, like, when I joined the team, so I introduced a test case review technique to have more requirement coverage, so that defect slippage ratio or something reduced.
Yes.
Description.
So what was the slippage first, and what were the numbers? Do you remember? They may ask you. You can say on beta 1 release, I was delivering 3 features. Based on 3 features, I had 19 or 27% defect leakage. Then after I introduced this, then the percentage was 16, something like that. But say believable numbers. Don't say outrageous numbers. Unless you are thinking, oh, this guy is not getting impressed. Then if you know you are losing, then if you have nothing to lose, फिर तो फेंकनी पड़ती है.
Yes.
Oh, of course, if you think the guy is not even responding to you, he's thinking it's a lost cause. You know you are not. You have that gut feel, right? You know this. We are not going to clear this. So you have to hold some ace in your sleeve and say something very bold or a big statement to. It's a see now. More and more interviews you give, you will learn this art.
Yes, right.
Ultimately, you have to impress a guy so that he gives you an offer letter. Then whatever you do in your company, who cares? Then you are just going to survive that system, right? And in India, we can all survive here. We are all manipulators, master manipulators. We can play politics. We can manipulate things. We can do that. I mean, how else you are going to survive in this country? Even the 5-year-olds are very manipulative. So even the kids, you can't trust kids even in India. Everybody is. They say something else. They mean something else. They actually do something else. So you don't know what is happening. So, but interview. Once you clear the interview, then survival you will be able to survive. It's not a tough job for most days. And you know so much information also, right? So it's not like you are going in the dark. You already know so much information. Okay, so anything else? In tomorrow, no, not tomorrow. Thursday we'll cover the Jira. All good? You'll be able to answer all these questions? Very good. Mohammed, sir.
In our company, actually, they are giving few trainings where they are telling like if you are showing any wrong experience, then it's not a good practice, and I don't know what consequences it will be, but they are actually giving the trainings to us that we shouldn't be doing it. So is it there in all the companies, or I'm not sure.
It's there everywhere, yeah. But you know how this is, that what happens if you're caught? And how will they catch you? The wrong information is that, let us say I have not worked in Wipro and I am producing a fake experience letter. That is a problem. So if I am working in Wipro from last 4 years and I show there are 3 projects I worked with, and I am showing in the last project that I worked in for the last 1.5 years, I was a Scrum Master. That nobody can catch here. That nobody can catch. What if you are got nothing here? You search for another job. You already have good interview skills. You will get even a joining bonus because you will not have notice periods to serve either. You have to be aggressive here. This is how.
Yeah.
See, what if they fire me? Oh, fire me here. What else? I'll go to another company, build some story. Out of 10 companies, 2 companies will buy that story and I'll get another job. This is how you have to think, right? But in reality, they cannot catch you. If you're showing fake experience, then that's a problem. So if I'm working for a company and for 5 years and I'm showing last 2 years I was a Scrum Master, no way. They just send emails to find out whether this guy worked from this and this date, and whether they have a valid PF account or not. And these are the things they verify. They have no way of verifying. But there is a company called, I don't know how they do it now. I did an interview way back. This was 10 years or maybe 12 years before. Fidelity, it's a finance company. Boss, they reached my nursery teacher here in background verification. I had to, for G also, I worked for a lot of years for G also. G, I was on bench for 4 months. What were they doing? Background verification check for 4 bloody months. So Fidelity also, I did not join, but they gave me an offer after clearing the interview after 2 months. They were doing all this background verification test. So some companies are mad, but 90-95% companies. Yeah, if they have to do all this kind of thing, 70% of the people will be out of the industry. What are you saying? We all know how this works. But it should not be a fake experience. As in, you have worked in HCL, but you are showing some other company, or you are showing a fake. That is okay if you know how to carry it off. I won't rule that also out. Let us say but that is going too far. But if you have experience in IT companies, or any of the tech companies or banks also, you will get away with it. Don't worry.
And designation, is it a
And designation, again, you have to come up with an answer that designations, nobody's giving Scrum Master designation. All sorts of different designations are there. That is what is happening in my company. 18 out of or 19 out of 20 companies will buy this story. One company will not buy this story. Fine, they will not take you. Baba, if you give 10 interviews, somebody is going to catch you also. Now they will not take you. What else is there?
Yeah.
You cannot fool everybody all the time. Nobody can. In the history of mankind, nobody has been able to do that, right? No con job is perfect. Somebody will catch you. Yeah, Sudipta. But let me tell you, 70-80% of the 70-80% candidates are like this only. It's not like they are fake. They have genuine experience in working, but they may have a 1 or 2 years of experience as Scrum Master or a tech lead or a team leader or something like that. And then they are showing that they were working in Agile. And that is fine here. As long as you are able to convince the people that you have worked in management and you know your basics, you should be good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sudipta ma'am.
Yeah, sir, I have like a few things to share. Is like I submitted, means I was applying continuously. So like recently, after the resume building session is done, like my score is around 94 in the CV.
ATS score.
ATS score. So now what is happening? Like I applied for PwC, like random also, whatever is coming as Scrum Master, I'm applying. So in PwC, the Wells Fargo, all
All
the
good,
company.
all great brands. Very good.
but no, they are saying like JD, according to the JD, my work experience is matching and all, but they have sent a mail like, no, it is not matching, so we are not moving forward with you. So none of
Did
the,
you copy some of those lines in your CV?
like, yes, whatever in the resume session, and also I did one mock interview also.
No,
Uh,
no. What I'm saying is for all the good companies, all
hmm.
the great companies, customize your CV.
Yes, yes, sir. One line, two line, like three experiences I showed. I just did not everything, but I took from the JD I did. So previously this was
No.
not getting selected also. Like no
Now
reply was coming. Now it is selected but rejected.
okay. So
Yeah.
now you have to do. So maybe
Yeah.
have you put how many total years of experience you are showing?
I'm showing sir 12 plus years of experience and 6 plus in Scrum Master.
Okay. You are showing Safe, Kanban, and Scrum, all three.
Yes, yes, sir.
You are, and there are numbers mentioned in your CV.
Yes, yes, sir. Like that
Hmm.
is there, so it is rejected. And um, yeah, I forgot one more thing I wanted to oh yes, so in Infosys, like I said, like August 1st I submitted the CV in their website, like
Hmm.
I tried to like give, and it went to their website and I submitted. So there they said like on 30th, like Saturday, they are having an interview, like on previous day they called that you will be getting a mail by EOD. So I got that mock interview because I was a little curious how it is going to go. And then it did not come. And today the HR is calling and saying, we are not looking for that much of experience, 12, only 10 plus. So
That is fine. That is
that
fine.
also rejected.
These things will happen here. Don't worry.
Okay.
These
Like
things will
I'm
happen.
not getting any call from anywhere. So
You will get
let's see.
calls there. Change
Uh,
your, so instead of one or two lines, maybe
uh,
add more lines for that particular job description.
okay. Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to mention, like I worked in a government organization, CDAC, in the initial years. So there, like I completed 4 projects, but it was like I was dealing with the stakeholders, and Agile was not there at that time. But I have delivered, like I was into the delivery thing only, not into any coding or testing. So that
Hmm.
I have given, like I have that stakeholder management, like change request would be coming. That I mentioned like that in those in this 12 years of time, this 4 years I did like that. Is it fine?
No, but how many? So, what is the total work ex you are showing as a Scrum Master?
6 plus.
Last 4 years, which company?
Last 4 years in Electronic Arts, there I acted as acting lead, and we were doing all these Scrum ceremonies and everything. So that
Have
also.
you written as acting? You've written
Huh.
CA Scrum Master, na?
I wrote acting lead bracket mein Scrum Master.
No
No,
acting
no,
lead.
no
Scrum
acting.
Master. Here
Scrum
you
Master.
send me the CV here.
Okay, okay, sure, sir. Sure.
Send me the
Um,
CV. Let me have a look at it.
Okay,
And
sure, sir.
then tomorrow after the call, I can after I mean on Thursday, I can give you some. So some of the see, a lot of people make some basic mistakes. So
Hmm.
it should look like a Scrum Master. Yeah, you are a Scrum
Okay.
Master. What is the problem?
Yeah, and one more thing, like my company is overtaken by another big company now. So in the
Hmm.
previous role also, I was as a tester. Like in the new company, I joined as a senior tester. Now what happened? I gave the name as analyst there because they're giving the designation as SEDET 2 to me. So like before the takeover, it was analyst. So I wrote it just analyst so that like SEDET
Doesn't.
2 is not coming up.
No, no, these things don't matter. But
Okay.
you should show. Here, I've seen people who are working in call centers getting into
Okay.
such
Okay.
things. Okay, so don't worry on it. Please, uh,
Okay. So
don't
I will
worry about
share
it.
my
Your
CV.
CV should look like a Scrum Master CV. You guys have a sample CV, right? All
Yes.
of
Yes, sir.
so send me that through email, and then we can. I'll look
Sure.
at if there is some problem.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, Rupa ma'am.
Yeah, hi sir. Actually, I need a suggestion from you. It's like, as I told you before, I have like 11 years of experience, which is completely into this life science, regulatory affairs. Okay, so this currently I'm working in an IT organization. So
Okay,
how
from
many?
last.
It's like 1.5 year.
Okay, prior to that. You were in which
I'm
organization?
in Frere Solution, Hyderabad. Frere.
Frere.
So that is also a regulatory concern. So how many total number of years I should show as a
Five.
Scrum Master?
5.
Because I haven't played actually, and in case if they go for, will they go for any verification or something if
Like
I
I
should?
told you, they will send the email to your prior organization whether Rupa worked for from this and this date.
But
That's all.
not as a Scrum Master or whatever the role. Okay. So 5 years I can show.
5 years. You have to show. You will not get calls if you don't. If you show
Yeah.
3.5, 4 years, you will not get calls.
Okay.
5 years you have to show.
And what is the expected CTC I can ask
CTC
them
again,
just to get a call?
don't put more than 15, 16 lakhs.
Okay.
Okay. Don't put more than 15, 16 lakhs. But once you clear few interviews, then of course you can negotiate.
Okay. Yeah.
Standard rule is whatever is your current CTC plus 20%. 20% is a bare minimum you will ask, right? It
Yeah.
can go to 30% also. But if you have multiple offers, then you can play with these guys. If you don't have multiple offers, then 20 to 30% on your current CTC. If you have multiple offers, then whatever is the highest offer you have, second highest offer, on top of that 20%. You
Okay.
can get into 40-50% range if you have multiple offer letters.
Got it.
Okay. But see, the market is that you have to be patient. There is no other. This Fryer company, this is tech company, is it? What do they produce?
Yeah. Yeah, this they do have mostly the regulatory projects like Takeda,
Hmm.
Sanofi, Novartis, like this.
Okay, whatever it is, you were working in a software team there and taking care of software. You were producing software. That team was producing software, and you were the Scrum Master.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And you will fumble in 1 or 2 interviews, and that is fine. See, you will not be used to lies, right? These are lies you are telling, and you'll not be used to. So, in your mock interviews, in your um, uh, interviews which you are going to be lining up initially, startup companies, all those small little companies, they will invite you for the interview. Give those interviews so that you get this hesitation out of your system. Apply for anything and everything.
Okay.
Don't be choosy. Apply. See, objective is to give interviews. First objective is to give 5 real-time interviews of any and every company, preferably not a good company. You understand, right? You have
Yeah.
to give. So once you are through your 3, 4, 5 interviews, then you will get used to building this story.
But I'm just lagging with these IT basics, IT field basics only, like DevOps or whatever they mention in the description. Even if I mention those in description, they will question.
See, the job is 20 or 30% more difficult to you. Okay. So that you have to give more interviews to get that lingo, whatever you will be rejected. Then you will say, okay, I need to. So, but how will you improve? You will only improve with time. It might take a month more or a 2 month more effort, but you will get used to those words.
Okay.
See these sessions time and time again, read more. That's all. Yeah. If I am already done tracking, I can climb a mountain. But if I have not done any tracking, then I will take more time. That's all, more preparation.
Okay.
Very simple. Yeah, you get whatever you want. If you really want it, you will get it. This is how life works, right? Whatever you are after desperately, you will get it. Because if you are not after something desperately, somebody else is, and he will get it. There's too much competition in this country, also, right? So you have to be really at it. Okay. Anything else? Can we wind up? I'll just do a quick poll and then we'll see each other on Thursday. I hope you guys will be able to answer Metrix reports properly now. Do a mental simulations. By the way, please remind me. I'll share that link of real-time questions also. So once those questions are in front of you, in fact, I can give you even right now. Yeah. Put that I think this link would have already shared by the star team, but I don't know whether they're. So these are the interview questions from various organizations. So what you have to do is sit every day half an hour without any link and see, without any documents or anything, and see whether you are able to answer these questions or not. So this is the link. I've sent this link to everybody. So please see if you can access it. And these have interview questions from all sorts of companies. The way to use this document is sit with it without any material and see how many questions you are able to answer. And whatever then you are not able to answer, then go through the documents, links, whatever notes you have, and then try it again. All of you are able to. Questions yahi aayenge yaar. Same questions will be repeated in all the questions. And by next week, start giving mock interviews. At least you should cover 2 interviews in the next 2 weeks. Mock. And start applying left, right, and center to everything and everything. Talk to these job consultants, monster.com, naukri.com, LinkedIn, friends, referrals, everything and anything. Okay. Okay. Have a nice break tomorrow. See you on Thursday, guys. By the way, all of you have got the link, no? There is nobody who's not able to access.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Take care then, guys. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.